All right, welcome back, COSN 10 folks. Professor Almeida here. Happy Friday. It's June 17th, and I wanted to talk about week 2, which is already available to you in Canvas. But before I do that, let's do a quick recap of what you went over in your first week. All right, so let me back up here real quick and talk about participation 1. If you still haven't given me your screenshot for class participation 1, the screenshot of our class in your NetAcad dashboard, you need to do that by this Sunday. Again, all I'm looking for here is a screenshot of our class in your I'm Learning dashboard. Okay, you can see here 50829 COSN 10 Networking Fundamentals. This is what I'm looking for, folks. So again, make sure you get that turned in to me by this Sunday night. Now, if you don't turn in this screenshot on time, I'm going to assume that you're no longer interested in the class and you'll be dropped from the roster. Okay, so if you want to stay in this class, please make sure you get that screenshot and pick up your first 10 points. Okay, moving right along. In the first week, we looked at a basic overview of networking, and you had your first Check Your Understanding assignment. If you look at this page on how to submit CYU and packet tracer activities, you'll see that I put together a video on how to do it. And I've also given you an example of what I'm looking for. So if you still have questions, please go back, review this page. And if you still have issues, please reach out to our COS assistants, either online through the Cranium Cafe or in person, as described in the announcement here. So take a look at the announcement from last week concerning COS Help Desk, Cranium Cafe, and exam summer hours. But again, I have left you examples of what you're going to be turning in and also a video here. One other thing to note, for those of you who are thinking about the CompTIA Network Plus, you probably noticed that in Chapter 1, Cisco just gave you the basics when it comes to threats and malware. And I know with the Network Plus, they really like to emphasize those areas. So you may have to fill in the gaps a little bit after you take this course. Okay, one place I would recommend is Professor Messer on YouTube. So again, make sure that you are supplementing what you're learning here in the class with materials elsewhere, especially if you're thinking about taking the latest Network Plus exam. Okay, moving on to Module 2, you learned some basic iOS commands for configuring Cisco switches. And if you have questions about Packet Tracer, take a look at this walkthrough video for 237. If you continue to have issues, one thing I would recommend is using Citrix Student Labs in your Viking portal. You may need to reset your Viking portal password in order to use the COSN lab in Citrix. That already has Packet Tracer installed, and then you can just run the assignment from there. Okay, but again, please take a look at that Packet Tracer walkthrough. And then we get into 255, which should be fairly self-explanatory. Just go through the instructions in the lab. And then we have 291, where I've put together a video for you. And then, of course, you have your Check Your Understanding too. Module 3, we start getting into protocols and models. And then for this Packet Tracer 355, I do ask that you provide an additional screenshot. Look at that assignment for details. And then you have another Check Your Understanding. Speaking of models, one thing you're going to really learn about in this class is the OSI model. And it consists of 7 layers. You have the physical layer that includes your cabling, for instance, your data link layer, those are your switches, your network layer, those are your routers, and then the transport layer, that's TCP, UDP. And then you have your upper 3 layers, your session layer, your presentation layer, and then your application layer. A good way to remember this, please do not throw sausage pizza away, or my favorite, please do not teach stupid, pointless acronyms. Okay, so that's an easy way to remember the layers. Also, keep in mind sometimes you might hear the network layer being described as layer 3, or the data link layer being described as layer 2. So just be aware of that as well. Okay, so that was pretty much your first week. Let's make sure that we get caught up, and let's get into week 2 now. So week 2, You'll start off with your first module group exam, the basic network connectivity exam. I will give you a separate announcement as to when this exam will be activated. Okay, I need to finalize the class roster first. And you can find your exam by going into the course curriculum here in NetAcad. And then if you scroll down to modules 1 through 3, here's where you can find the exam. Okay, again, I will give you a separate announcement as to when this exam will be activated. Moving along, we get into Module 4, the physical layer. That's your layer 1 of the OSI model. And you have 2 packet tracers along with a check your understanding. And then we get into Module 5, number systems. Take a look at this page on conversions. Matter of fact, let me open it up for you here. So here's an example that I gave you on how to convert between decimal, binary, and hexadecimal. And you want to make sure that you read through Module 5 in your course curriculum. And then we get to the binary game here. Now, I'm going to offer extra credit, and I'll make a separate announcement about this. I'm going to offer extra credit to the student who can give me the highest score in the binary game. And you can keep resubmitting as many times as you want up until the June 26th deadline. So again, details about the extra credit will be given to you in a separate announcement. All right, so that's pretty much week 2. And you want to make sure that you have all of this done here by Sunday, June 26th. Okay, for weeks 1 and week 2. Again, the class participation, that's due this Sunday. That should be an easy 10 points. But weeks 1 and 2, that will be due Sunday, June 26th. Now, keep in mind that this is the due date, D-U-E, and not the due date, D-O. Don't try to cram almost a month's worth of material into this class. It's not a good strategy, especially since we are moving at twice the speed. All right, if you have questions, I'm in the Canvas live chat during my student office hours on Wednesdays and Thursdays. You can also reach out to the COS help desk either through Cranium Cafe or in person at LEC and PCC. Again, check the announcement for the scheduling. All right, take care of yourselves out there. Have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll talk again soon.